Hello, welcome everybody. My name is Melissa Dobrowolski. I am the operations manager at Regina Trades and Skills Center. Thank you all for coming to my presentation today. I hope to enlighten you and provide you with some insight on how amazing RTSC is and that we are a viable option for any type of post-secondary training that is needed for any of the trades or the service industry. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with a PowerPoint presentation. And once we get that up and running, then we should be able to start going through everything here. Awesome. Okay, so first off, thank you to RDIEC, the Regina District Industry Education Council, for inviting us to do this presentation. If you do need to reach them individually, Mark Edmonds and Renette Edgar are your primary contacts, and I have those numbers up here on the screen. And you can also check them out on their website at rdiec.ca. For those of you that have more specific questions for me individually, I will share our contact information at the end so that you are able to get all of that information going forward. So Regina Trades and Skills Center is a unique entry-level short-term training facility designed to get your boot in the door. So all of the training that we do here is really designed to end up with employment opportunities for our students or for our graduates. So although we're not an employment agency, we do provide short-term quick skills training that leads to employment post-graduation. So when you go to school here, you're actually starting off as an employee and you're going forward and continuing your education. So that's a little bit about who we are. So going into a little bit of background about us. So we started in 2007 and we became incorporated in 2009 as a not-for-profit. And we are funded primarily by the Ministry of Immigration and Career Training. So we're not an employment center, like I had mentioned before. What we are is a short-term entry-level training facility, and we focus on quick skills training that lasts anywhere between 7 to 12 weeks in length. So it's a get in, get the training that you need, and then get out and start working. So back in the day, when you go to a trade school or you go to university, you get a certificate, a degree, a diploma, something along those lines. You get a certificate and a handshake and have a nice day, which is amazing because you have that certificate and you have that education behind you. But a lot of times the individuals still struggle finding that first employment opportunity. And that's where one of the areas where we differentiate from those education institutions. So you do get a little certificate from us, but it's not a degree or a diploma or a certification by chance. It's just a certificate saying that you've completed a course. However, that certification then connects you directly to an employment opportunity and gets you working. I'm not going to talk a lot about apprenticeship here today because the Apprenticeship Commission can focus on that. But the whole intention is to get you employed so that you can go through the apprenticeship process seamlessly and without a lot of education and expenses associated to it. So here at the center, the training that we provide is both hard and soft skills training. So for example, if you're going into carpentry, we're going to do the hard skills and teaching you what tools you're going to use. So the hand and power tools, we're going to talk to you about the materials that you're going to use and teach you about that. Then we're going to go into the applications. You might do some framing, some finishing. You might do some exterior finishes, interior finishing. You might build a couple of projects or go into the community as well, maybe do some framing as well. So those are kind of the hard skills that we teach here. And then we also teach the soft skills, which are your appropriate workplace behaviors. So anything really associated with showing up every day on time, calling in sick, what happens if you're going to be late? What if you have a doctor's appointment or a medical appointment or you're asking for holidays? We kind of talk a little bit about that. Then we go into the work ethic and the attitude associated with going to work and getting along with people and how to handle difficult situations. And then things that are common knowledge to most people. What do you pack for lunch? How do you dress when you're working indoors, outdoors, in the cold, in the heat? We even talk to them about packing lunches and and making sure that they are fueling their body properly for the physical work that they're going to be doing. So we go into the hard skills and the soft skills associated with employment and within that particular industry. And everything that we do comes back to the goal of employment. So where we follow all of those concepts and those skills from is actually from industry. So they tell us what are the main entry-level skills that these students need or these potential employees need, and that's what we base our training on. So in regards to employment, we're sitting at about 90 to 92% employment rate for the last 8 years that I have been here. And those students are gaining great employment post-graduation. So as you can see, we are doing something right. So the two primary markets that we offer training to is our adult training program. So our primary target there is 19 to 30-year-olds. And then we have a 12 to trades employment program, which is for grade 12 graduates. So I'm going to talk about both of those in greater detail here in the coming slides. So just a little bit that we offer that right now, and I'll tell you more of the details afterwards. What's cool about us is all of our training is based on the demands of industry. So when you go to a trade school, you can see up on their curriculum page that they are offering specific courses for pre-employment carpentry, pre-employment electrical. Those are offered year after year after year. And it doesn't matter if there is high employment demands in those areas or not, they're still offered, which is great for individuals that are looking to get the training at any time. We differ a little bit because we actually only offer courses where the employment demands are at their greatest. So for example, if the scaffolding industry is not doing a lot of hiring right now, or there's not a lot of work associated to it, we wouldn't put on a scaffolding course. However, carpentry is booming right now, and so is concrete. So we're looking to fill those courses. So we might do 2 courses a year in carpentry to be able to address the employment demands from industry because they're hurting for employees. So everything that we do is based on that. Childcare educators, for example, was huge. They're hurting for childcare educators. So we've been offering a childcare education class to help get our students working full-time in the childcare industry. So again, it's all based on the demands of industry. So specifically going into the 12 to trades program, this is my baby, and this is one that I run from start to finish. So I have a lot of passion for this particular course because I was a carpenter when I first started out in my first life and did that post-graduation. So this particular course is really cool because it's only for grade 12 graduates of the current year, and it's designed to take the best of the best that have some base knowledge and some base information in the trade that they're wanting to go into to get them connected directly to employment. So this particular course does not offer specific training in the trade. So it's open to any trade or any student that wants to go into any trade. So I've had electricians, mechanics, carpenters, heavy duty mechanics, power line techs, line cooks. I've had plumbers, sheet metal workers, welders. It doesn't matter what trade they're wanting to go into. The whole intention is to transition from grade 12 to employment, to apprenticeship, and then continue on. Most of the students that do go through this program become journey people within 5 to 6 years of post-graduation from high school. So I've had more than half of my students come back now and say that they are journey persons and they're making $35 to $45 an hour at 23 years old. So this is really a great way for grade 12 graduates of the current year to get their boot in the door, start working in the trade that they're wanting to get working in, go through the apprenticeship route, do minimal school, and have less student loan debt associated with it because it really is an inexpensive way to get education and a certification that is recognized across Canada. So the 12 to trades program specifically is only for grade 12 graduates of the current school year. So if they graduate in June of, let's say, 2024, those are the individuals that we are looking at for this particular course. It's only 6 weeks in length and there's no specific trade training. So like I said, I have multiple trades in that class. So what we really focus on that first week are those soft skills, the appropriate workplace behaviors and the safety training. So we get them all of the safety certifications that they need in order to work safely in that particular industry. And then we provide them with those appropriate workplace behaviors of what to expect when they get onto a job site. They then go and work for an employer that we find for them for 5 weeks. So we partner with amazing employers in the city and surrounding communities, depends where the student is coming from. And we get them employed in their respective trades. So they spend 5 weeks on the job training and they should have some experience in a related field. So if they are going into carpentry or want to go into carpentry, maybe they've taken practical applied arts, carpentry 10, 20, 30, or maybe they've gone to campus Regina Public and done CRP classes. Same thing with plumbing or welding or whatnot. So they have to have that base knowledge. Maybe they've worked summer jobs. Maybe they've helped out. Maybe they're have done some carpentry on the farm. So as long as they have some base knowledge on how to read a tape measure, how to do the math and the basic concepts, we will get them connected to that employment opportunity. Students actually get paid right from the day that they go to school in this program. So the day that they start with me to do that safety training, they're getting paid minimum wage. So they're getting paid for the time that they're here. And RTSC pays them for the first 3 weeks of the program. And then the last 3 weeks of the program, the employer pays them at a competitive entry-level wage. So most of our students are starting off $15 to $20 an hour for those entry-level positions. And what's even more exciting is to know that after that 6 weeks are up, most of those students get offered continuous employment and just continue working there. In fact, I'm sitting at around a 96% employment rate for the last 7 classes that we've had post-graduation. So again, it's any trade the student wants as long as they have some base knowledge in it. And I want to impress upon you that there is no specific trade training at RTSC for this particular course. So that's why that base knowledge is so important. And then we look at the behavioral side of things. So we're looking for our students that get accepted into this program to have a driver's license, which is mandatory. So a driver's license with a clean driver's abstract. They have to have great attendance and their marks have to be decent. So we're looking for those individuals that are going to show up for work every day on time, have a good work ethic, and are going to have a good attitude. They're going to get along with everybody, and that employer is going to teach them everything that they need to know. So those are our 4 pillars, and you'll hear me talk a lot about that as we go through this presentation, because that's really the key and what's important there. When we get to our adult programming, that's where it differs because now we're going to do the trade specific training. This is where our programs last. I've got 6 to 10 weeks in length, but we have increased to about 7 to 12, depending on the actual course. There's only one course that we do right now, which is a plumbing HVAC course, which is 12 weeks. Other than that, all of our other classes are done in 10 weeks. The primary target market for our adult programs is 19 to 30-year-olds. However, we do hire based on a best fit model. So we have hired students to go through from 18 all the way up to 55. So we do offer courses to all age groups. And again, it's just based on the right fit at the right time for that particular course. And we'll go through that selection criteria coming up. So we do trade specific training. So if they're applying for a power line technician class, they're going to be trained in power line technician. If they're going to be a personal support assistant, we're going to train them as a personal support assistant. So we're going to do actual practical hands-on training in that particular industry. So just a quick recap. The 12 to Trades program only for grade 12 graduates of the current year to get their boot in the door and get them working in the trade that they're wanting to go to work in. And we do not do specific trade training. We just connect them to employment. Adult training, on the other hand, is for everyone, and primary target is 19 to 30-year-olds. However, again, we hire based on a best fit model, so 18 and up. And we do the trade specific training and it's a little bit longer. It's connected to 6 to 10 weeks in length. and includes what we refer to as an on-the-job interview or a 2-week work placement. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about what that looks like in the next slide, because everything that we do here comes back to our goal of employment. So the first week of our adult training is what we refer to as is our orientation week. And that's where we do the safety training and all appropriate workplace behaviors. So we do that basic week of getting them the safety training that they need in order to do their jobs safely. Safety is a top priority here at RTSC as well as with most employers. Then they spend that anywhere between 4 to 7 weeks in the shop setting, and they do practical workplace learning, work-based learning. Sorry about that. The practical work-based learning is the hands-on training. So if they are working in an apprenticeable trade, they are working under a journey person. If they are working under a recognized trade, they are working under somebody that either is a journey person or has many, many years of experience. So they are learning from the best of the individuals that work in that trade. During that practical hands-on training, they're spending 70 to 90% in the shop, and the other 30 to 10% is really spent in the classroom teaching the concepts associated with it all. But we pride ourselves on the hands-on training so that they're really understanding the concepts of the industry that they're going to work in. We then connect them to an employer at the end. So we find them an employment opportunity and we connect them to them for a 2-week on-the-job interview. That 2-week work placement is really essentially for the employer to take a look at the student and say, hey, are they going to be a good fit for our organization? And if they are, the intention is that student would just transition onto their payroll and they would become a full-time employee with that organization. So that's where that 90 to 92% employment rate really kicks in, is from the last day of our training, 90% of our students are getting hired from that employer that we connect them to. So everything comes back to that continuous employment at the end of our training. So these are our pillars. So we don't necessarily have midterms and finals and all these exams that our students have to go through. We actually have behavioral-based pillars that we base our students' success on. So the first one is our students need to show up for work every day on time. You're going to learn that our students get paid to go to school, and so we expect them to be here every day. Just like at work, you're expected to be at work every day. So we expect our students to show up here about 10-15 minutes before their scheduled shift and to put in a good day's worth of work. We also expect them to have a good attitude. So they've got to accept feedback. They've got to apply it. They've got to get along well with other people. They've got to accept the tough tasks, because that's a tough one. Sometimes we have to do some pretty crappy jobs and they're not always the funnest to go through. But with the right attitude, you definitely can get through it a lot easier. We also teach them and expect them to have good work ethic. So instead of having downtime and picking up your cell phone, making sure your cell phone's put away, and grabbing a broom and cleaning up, or organizing the wood pile, or maybe you're going to shovel some snow, whatever it may be, we're looking at that work ethic. So are you putting in a good day's worth of work, what you're getting paid for? And the last pillar that we focus on is skill development. And that's really, do you have the aptitude to be able to do the job that is presented to you, right? So those are our 4 pillars, and that's what we base our students' success on, is really, can you show up for work on time, put in a good day's worth of work, get along well with everybody, and do you have the aptitude to progress your skill as you go along? And because of all of that, we offer many benefits to our students. So the benefits to our students is connection to industry. So we all know how difficult it is finding our first job in the area that we want to go to work for. And our students don't have to worry about that, because we get doors slammed in our face for them so that they don't have to. So we find them an employment opportunity and connect them to industry for that 2-week work placement. There is no tuition for our students to pay. It doesn't matter who you are. We don't look at any aspect of race, gender, nationality, culture, any of that kind of stuff. We don't look at how much money you have in your bank account or not. There's no tuition for any of our students. And there are paid wages. So our students get paid minimum wage while they're going to school, right until graduation. They're paid for the time that they are here. So I'm just going to focus on those three things a little bit more in detail, just so that you do understand that our doors are open to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, or purple. It doesn't matter if you're Indigenous. It doesn't matter if you're a landed immigrant, if you're Caucasian, if you're male, if you're female. None of that matters here. Everybody is treated equally, and we hire based on a best fit model. So in order to be selected into our courses, our students need to go through a registration process. Then they need to go and attend an information session, and then they have a one-on-one interview. And during that interview is where we make the determination of who is going to be the best fit for that particular trade. Each trade offers its own unique recommendations for requirements. So they may need a driver's license, they may not. They may have to pass a drug test, they may not. They may have to have a criminal record check, they may not. So each specific course is different based on what the industry requirements are. But one thing remains the same, that if it doesn't matter who you are, if you get accepted into our course, there is no tuition, so it's free for you to go to school. You get paid while you go to school, and you get connected to an employment opportunity at the end. So it doesn't matter if you're in our 12 to trades program or our adult programming, all three of these things apply. And you do get apprenticeship hours as well in order to move forward if apprenticeship is the way that you are going to go. So I have a thank you here and any questions, but I just want to follow up with it. Just a really quick recap here, you guys, just to make sure that you understand everything as a whole. So short-term entry-level skills training facility. We're designed to get your boot in the door, and everything that we do here leads towards employment. We have a 90% employment rate upon completion of graduation by our students. And the process that everybody has to go through is they have to register for a program online at rtsc.org. They have to go through an information session to hear about the actual program and our expectations. And then they go through a one-on-one interview. If they are selected into the program, there is no tuition. It is free for them. They get paid wages while they go to school, and we connect them to an employment opportunity. And so the intention of the training is for them to transition seamlessly from training into long-term sustainable employment. So it's not about just coming to school and getting this certification. It's about coming to school, getting the training that you need in order to gain meaningful employment and start making a career for yourself. We are open to everyone, and it's one of the most fantastic places to take your training and education. If you have specific questions for me, a lot of stuff can be answered on our website at rtsc.org. There's a link there to contact us, and that comes directly to myself or one of the staff members here that we can answer any questions that you have. And you can also reach out to us or pop in. We're located at 1275 Albert Street on the corner of Albert and 7th Avenue. And the big red building, you cannot miss us. So once again, I'd like to thank you kindly for coming out and hearing about this presentation and the amazing things that we have to offer here. I look forward to hearing from you and seeing you get your boot in the door through RTSC. Thank you. Have a great day.